This is from DepEd alone. Opo.
Load.
Kasama po ba dun si Kokoy Villamin sa 677 and doon sa 405 na no records with the PSA?
Yes. Si Kokoy Villamin kasi, umappear yung pangalan niya both sa OBP at saka sa DepEd. So dito, lumabas dito sa PSA na hindi rin nag-i-exist sa birth, sa marriage, at saka sa death, si Kokoy Villamin.
So yung 677, DepEd and OVP rin yun, sir?
Hindi. Yung 677, DepEd alone. Iba pa yung sa OBP.
And then magkano, sir, itong napunta sa 405 na walang records with the PSA? Magkano yung total confidential?
In terms of amount,
Yes, sir.
hindi ko na-compute eh. Hindi ako aware. Ang pina-check lang namin is yung names. Pina-verify lang kasi namin yung mga pangalan pa.
Pero gusto ko lang idagdag, yung amount in question really is 612.5 million.
612.5, both OBP and DepEd. Insofar as DepEd is concerned, 112.5 million.
Thank you. Mela from PTV4.
Sir, just to clarify, kasi yung una nating nasabi, 677. So yung 133 po ba? I mean the rest ng, kung 405 ay nakita natin na walang record, na sabi nyo nga po kanina non-existent, yung the rest po ba, ibig sabihin may record naman po sila?
May record pero maraming kapangalan. Like yung iba, 5, may 10, may maraming pangalan.
And sir, last na from my end, kung pagsasamahin yung mga pangalan na nakalap natin sa acknowledgement receipts ng OVP at DepEd, ilan po yun overall? Ilan po yung hinihintay nating verification from PSA mula naman sa side po ng OVP?
Ang OVP, if I'm not mistaken, parang 2,000 ata yun eh. Kung hindi po ako nagkakamali. I will have to check and double check. I-double check ko yung sa OVP.
So sa ngayon may nasa 2,000 names pa na
Mas
under
malaki kasi
verification.
yung budget ng OVP eh. That is 500 million eh. So, kaya mas marami yung pangalan sa OVP.
Sandro Chona from Billionaire TV, then Big Sumintak from Net25.
Sir, may mga nabanggit kaninang kaso, malversation, bribery, plunder. Ito na po ba yung lalamanin ng partial committee report natin na ikakaso or i-recommend from other government agencies na ikaso kay VP?
Well, pag-uusapan pa namin, but ito yung mga nakita namin na mga possible violation in the course of the hearing.
Pero kayo po magre-recommend nito or paano po yung process?
Siguro kung hindi kami mag-i-issue ng partial committee report, yun ang magiging laman ng committee report namin sa dulo once pag nag-conclude na po yung ating committee hearing.
Okay, so
Ito yung pang KV.
opo, ilan po yung kay VP? Ano po yung mga kaso specifically for VP?
Wala pang specific kasi ang kanya-kanyang ano po yan recommendation ng mga members sa kanila, ito yung mga observation nila. So as to the final details, hindi pa po namin pina-finalize. Pero ito yung mga nakitang mga violation.
Sir, last na lang, mga kailan kaya natin i-expect yung partial or yung committee report? Next year na, sir? O kaya this year?
Most probably, baka next year na yan. Mga next year na yan. Opo.
Big Sumintak.
Sir, Chairman Chua, clarification lang. Since the investigation of the House Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability is not yet terminated, but you intend to release a partial report, especially on the investigation doon sa Confidential and Intelligence Fund ng Vice President. So, may we know kung kaya kayo nag-release ba ng partial summary report or summary report so that this report can be used by the House Committee on Justice regarding the impeachment case by the Vice President Sara Duterte?
Well, actually, year-ender to parang summary Ito muna yung summary kung what happened in the past 7 hearings, what transpired, at kung ano yung mga nakikita namin na violation. At kung ano yung mga laws na propose namin. Dahil, di ba, yun naman ang lagi nilang kino-question kung bakit this is in aid of legislation, asan yung mga batas. So, ito yung mga batas na nakikita namin. And in fact, kanina, meron na naman kaming nakita na naman na additional. Like for example, yun dun sa yung yun dun sa yun sa ng pagselyo, 'di ba kino-question kasi nila na baka mamaya gumagamit daw ng mga pseudonym dahil confidential nga daw po 'yan. So nakita namin na dapat ilagay na rin para mas clear doon sa mismong joint circular 2015. Magiging part din ng recommendation namin yan na kailangan it should bear the true identity or name.
Corruption of public officers. Simply stated, Mr. Chair, sa isang korupsyon or anomalya, may isang nanunuhol at may isang sinusuhulan. The offense committed by the author of corruption is Article 212, that is corruption of public officers. On the assumption, Mr. Chair, na tinanggap ang suhol, then the offense committed by the one who received the money, we call it bribery. Let us discuss first bribery, Mr. Chair. Ano ang elements ng bribery? There must be a public officer. The accused is a public officer. He received directly or through another some gift or present. The receipt was in consideration of his commission of some crime, and that relates to the exercise of his function as a public officer. Of course, kailangang ma-mention ang mga krimen ng mga nagsuhol at mga nagpasuhol. Ito po ang mga elements ng bribery. Malamang lahat ng mga tao na naimbestigahan natin ay public officials who receive amounts of not just any money, but possibly of confidential funds as well. Corruption of public officers. Siyempre, kung may mga tumatanggap ng suhol, may mga nagsusuhol. Sila naman po ay magiging liable sa krimen ng corruption of public officers. Again, Mr. Chair, for clarity, ang nanuhol ay liable sa corruption of public officers. Ang tumanggap ng suhol, they are liable for bribery. Ibig sabihin, may isang special krimen para sa nagsusuhol ng mga public officials. Tingnan po natin, parehas lamang ang penalty na ini-impose sa mga nagsusuhol at sinusuhulan as provided under Article 212. Except, of course, disqualification and suspension, because these two penalties apparently apply only to public officials. Kaya naman, ang bribery at corruption of public officers ay ang pagbibigay ng pera, regalo, o kahit anumang advantage or favor sa pamamagitan ng pag-abuso ng kanyang posisyon sa gobyerno. Kindly flash the next screen. Let's all recall what we discovered from the committee investigations. May mga empleyado sa DepEd na tumanggap ng white envelopes in the same period within the confidential funds for DepEd were released. Hindi po ba kahina-hinala yan? And you can see from the screen, OVP executive admits, inamin, handing cash envelopes to DepEd officials. Next slide, please. We may recall, it was former USEC Gloria Mercado who first revealed to us that she received 9 envelopes with 25,000 in a span of 9 months. Ito'y ibinigay ni Sunshine Fajarda, ang mga envelopes kay USEC Mercado, at sinabi na galing ito sa Vice Presidente Sara Duterte. Malinaw na ang ganitong pagkakataon ay hindi normal. Hindi normal na ang boss ay nagbibigay bigla ng sobre na may 25,000 each for 9 months to her very own head of procurement. Anyone can easily conclude that this is not merely out of generous heart of VP Duterte, but was precisely given in attempt to influence USEC Mercado, to which she failed to do. And we may recall, Mr. Chair, during our interpellation with USEC Gloria Mercado, she admitted believing that those envelopes were given to her to influence her decision as Hope. Next slide, please. It was not a surprise when former Chairman Resty Osayas, this is our second DepEd official, he is the chairman of DepEd Bids and Awards Committee. He admitted, siya rin ay nakatanggap ng sobre na may laman na pera. Again, another key official in the procurement process of the DepEd. And yet again, another act of corruption plaguing in the DepEd. Yung nauna, Mr. Chair, USEC Mercado, she was the hope of DepEd. And this time, we have Chairman Resty Osayas, Chairman of DepEd Bids and Awards Committee. Both admitted having received envelopes with money inside. Next slide, please. Of course, sino pong makakalimot sa ating Chief Accountant ng DepEd, Ms. Runa Catalan. Like former USEC Mercado, like Mr. Osayas, Ma'am Catalan received the same number of envelopes containing the same amount of money in the same period of February to September 2023. Again, another key official in the DepEd who necessarily deals with the public funds of the DepEd was blinded by an alleged gift from VP Duterte. But it was later on revealed that she was requested by Sunshine Fajarda, the very person who handed her the envelopes, to sign the liquidation reports without its supporting documents. Again, corruption prevailed. Mr. Chair, in line with the issue of bribery and corruption, I wish to manifest that there is a chance that the 3 key officials of DepEd, who I previously mentioned, USEC Mercado, Mr. Osayas, Ms. Catalan, were not only employees of DepEd who received envelopes with cash. I believe that it is only a matter of time. And I hope that light be shed on this alarming revelation. Tayo po'y naniniwala na hindi lamang ang 3 opisyales na ito ang tumanggap ng envelope na may lamang pera mula sa ating Vice Presidente.
Idadagdag ko lang po, no? Actually, one of the reasons why ang ating chairman is nagkaroon kami ngayon ng summary report is precisely also because there are filing of impeachment complaints. Now, we would not at any rate or at any way preempt whatever is the decision or how the Committee on Justice would appreciate these complaints. Kaya nagkataon lang talaga na may nag-file ng complaint at may re-refer na nga sa Committee on Justice. I think part of the committee's way of respecting what's going to be how the Committee on Justice will proceed and will approach the impeachment complaints is to summarize what we have discussed for the past 8 committee hearings.
Sir, yeah, one last from my end. So, meaning to say, it can be used by the Justice Committee in the determination of forms and substance of the impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte, because in your hearing, lumabas din dan yung bribery, graft, and corruption, which includes in the impeachment case filed against the Vice President.
Yung mga final pong impeachment complaint, if I'm not mistaken, marami rin naman po kinuha nila dito sa committee hearing namin eh. So, to answer your question, it will not prevent them from getting information, mga recommendation dito po sa aming committee hearing.
Idadagdag ko lang, no. Balikan po natin yung kasagutan po namin kanina na that would depend on how the Committee on Justice approach the complaint. So, yung committee hearings naman po natin, it's a public record. It's being televised and being streamlined all over different social media platforms. So, I guess a way of really allowing kayong sa aking consideration, for my personal take on this is to allow the complaint, the impeachment complaint, referred to the Committee on Justice to have its way, how they would discuss that. Kaya nga po tayo ngayon nag-summarize is para hindi parallel while dinidiscuss natin yung mga issues, may mga katanungan tayo, at the same time doon sa kabilang kwarto ay nagdi-discuss sila ng impeachment complaint. I mean, that would, to me, that would certainly be something that should raise an eyebrow para sa akin. So just to be more circumspect in terms of allowing other committees to do its job, mas magandang isummarize na lang natin kung anong napag-usapan.
Thank you. Rosalie Cas from UNTV, then followed by Dwight De Leon from Rappler.
Good afternoon po. Question po from our desk. Kasi last meeting po ng inyo pong committee, dumalo po si Vice President Sara Duterte at nag-take ng oath. So may chance po na i-clarify, tanungin ng komite ang Vice Presidente sa mga alegasyon laban sa paggamit niya ng confidential funds as well as ng DepEd. Pero walang pagtatanong na nangyari kay VP Duterte last hearing. Bakit po ganun?
Well, actually, may mga magtatanong supposedly sa kanya, but unfortunately, nagkaroon po ng incident kay Gina Acosta. Kasi yung mga congressman na nando doon, nakapokus muna sila doon sa mga SDO na umattend. So, siguro kung medyo natagalan pa, pupunta talaga kay BP Sara.
Hindi po ba siya waste opportunity? Kasi early in the morning, if I'm not mistaken, in the afternoon hanggang gabi, present po si VP Duterte as well as the security officers po na kung saan dumaan yun pong confidential funds. Pero hindi sila natanong about dun sa mga allegations ng irregularities.
Hindi po naman, dahil nilay muna yung predicate dun sa mga SDO. Yun ang pinaka-importante munang tinanong eh. But unfortunately, nagkaroon nga tayo ng emergency situation. Kaya po hindi po nakaabot kay BP Sara.
Last na lang po on my part, yung pong inisa-isang mga kaso of legal liabilities, probable or possible legal liabilities, inisa-isa na po ba ito dahil may sapat ng batayan na nakita yun pong inyo pong komite para magsampa or mag-recommend ng charges to file against the key officials of OVP at DepEd under VP Duterte?
Based po sa 7th hearing na nangyari sa atin, ito po yung mga recommendation ng mga member na nakikita po nila na possible violation na nangyari po sa mga paggamit po ng confidential fund.
Thank you po.
Thank you, Dwight.
Good afternoon po. Clarify lang po, Chair. Yung legal liabilities, potential legal liabilities raised, stand ba siya ng committee as a whole and it's just that it's not yet final dahil potential pa lang, or is it just the stand of individual members? Kasi sir, there seems to be a system in the way it was presented, organized, parang bawat lawmaker may nakatoka sa kanya, ikaw mag didiscuss ng ganun, ng bribery, ikaw mag-discuss ng malversation. It seemed like there was a system in the way it was presented. So parang group presentation siya by the Committee of Good Government.
Ito po kasi nung nag-discuss po kami, ito yung mga stand ng mga individual. May kanya-kanyang observation po yan. And we have to realize na ilan po din sa mga lawmakers are lawyers. So ito po yung mga, and then they agree. So ito naman for purposes of wrapping up, ito pong year-ender natin. But insofar as yung final committee report, pag-uusapan pa uli yun. But basically, ito po yung nakikita at mga recommendation ng mga individual members ng committee.
In addition to that, no, we're talking of not just simple resolution. This involves the second highest official in the land, and it involves quite a number of millions of pesos, hundreds of millions of pesos. So kailangan meticuloso yung approach natin. Hindi ho ito yung ordinary lang ng inquiry. No, ito ay isang mataas na pinuno ng ating bansa, very popular. So kailangan, once we lay down the predicate and once we formulate our own questions, yung tumbok na dapat malaman ng tao. And number two, like sa akin, sa case ko, I particularly was more interested in knowing how and the confidential funds were being spent. So sabi ko nga, confidential fund is not intrinsically evil. It is how you utilize that makes it, questionable. So pupunta ako doon sa ARs. So ayun talaga yung interest ko kung ano yung mga discrepancies in the ARs. As to the other congressmen, members ng committee, meron din silang sariling mga interest. So, before kami pupunta doon at baka hindi ma-juggle up yung lahat ng information, nag-uusap-usap talaga kami kung what are the parameters ng bawat issue para maganda ang pagkaintindi ng ating taong bayan. Dahil hindi ho ito ordinaryong tao ang pinag-uusapan natin dito at hindi ho ito ordinaryo at mababa lang yung amount ng pinag-uusapan natin. And number three, to your question, hindi po ito officially na stand ng komite with due respect to our chairman. These are individual observations of each of our committee members.
Ano lang po yung specific timeline kung kailan natin balak tapusin yung pag-iimbestiga ng committee? Parang bago ba mag-campaign period? Are you eyeing na sana magkaroon na ng final committee report? Ano po yung tinitingnan nating parang siguro hard deadline for the committee?
Sa totoo lang, nung nag-usap-usap po yung mga miyembro, may mga nag-raise po kasi ng question na ang naging ugat po ng lahat ng ito ay kung hindi po natin, baka makalimutan po natin, based dun sa privilege speech ni Congressman Valeriano tsaka dun sa manifestation ni Kong Jinky. Dun sa manifestation po ni Kong Jinky, it involves yung DepEd Fund, kasama po dito yung yung sa computerization, yung hindi po na i-deliver. So may mga miyembro po na nag-raise ng question na bakit yun hindi tinakel? Why focus only sa confidential fund? So kaya hindi po kami nakapag-come up ng final committee report dahil nga po gusto po ng ibang miyembro na pati yung iba masolusyonan nang sa ganun kung may mga kinakailangan din pong batas na dapat kaming maipasa, yung mga miyembro, dapat maaktuhan. Otherwise, kasi sa totoo lang, daang-daang milyon din ang nagastos doon sa mga computer. So baka mamaya, bakit nangyari yung ganong sitwasyon? So hindi po masyadong nagdwell sa ibang mga issues. Masyado pong na-focus dito lang sa isang item lamang. Kaya yung iba po, gusto nila na pati yun ay mapag-usapan din na sa ganun makita kung ano naging problema.
Pero kung ano yung parang kung may deadline lang. Kasi pag nag-break kayo ng February, yung balik nyo na after the elections. Tapos, syempre mag-expire yung term nyo by end of June.
Siguro sa susunod na mag-meeting kami, ipa-finalize namin kung ano po talaga ang nais ng mga miyembro. Kasi syempre, you have to consider yung lahat ng mga opinion ng mga miyembro mo eh. So, kailangan we have to come up. Otherwise, kung may mga miyembro na hindi rin naman ayaw pa na matapos, o kagaya kanina, si Congresswoman Franz Castro, tinatanong bakit yung dalawang hindi kino-question. So, may mga ganitong issue eh. So, hindi naman po pwedeng desisyonan lang ng chairman lahat yan. So, kailangan lahat yan, siyempre, i-consider mo lahat ng mga opinion at mga insights ng iyong mga miyembro.
Ating nakitaan na maaring ikaso mula sa ating mga nadinig sa ating komite, rito ay ang violation ng plunder sa ilalim ng Republic Act 7080 as amended. Ang basis po natin ay lahat ng mga nakalap na impormasyon patungkol sa paggasta di umano ng OVP at ng Department of Education ng confidential funds sa ilalim ng pamumuno ng ating Vice Presidente. Mapapansin po natin na wala pong naipakita na ebidensya kung saan totoong napunta talaga ito. Pinatutunayan lang ng mga opisinang ito sa pamamagitan ng acknowledgement receipts na atin namang napansin ng napakaraming anomalya. Pareho ang sulat, pareho ang pirma, pareho ang tinta ng ballpen. Ang impossibility na ito ay na-disburse ayon sa dami ng resibo sa iisang araw lamang. At isama na din po natin ang mga nadiskubre nating pangalang Mary Grace Piatos at Kokoy Villamin na napatunayan na wala sa database ng Philippine Statistics Authority. Ang isang konklusyon na aming nakikita sa mga ito ay hindi tunay, pineke lamang ang mga ito upang maipamukha lamang na ginasta ito para sa surveillance activities upang magamit ang pondong ito sa ibang kagamitan o pansariling interes. Ano nga ba ang plunder, Mr. Chair? Sa ilalim po ng Section 2 ng ating Anti-Plunder Act, nakasaad dito, any public officer who by himself or in connivance with members of his family, relatives by affinity or consanguinity, business associates, subordinates, or other persons amasses, accumulates, or acquires ill-gotten wealth through a combination or series of overt or criminal acts in the aggregate amount or total value of at least 50 million pesos. Nakasaad din rito na ang penalty ng paglabag ay reklusyon perpetua na may katumbas na 20 years and 1 day hanggang 40 years. I wish to add, Mr. Chair, na ito pong kasong ito, considering the penalty of reclusion perpetua is non-bailable. Kalakip din po ng penalty na ito ang perpetual absolute disqualification, which includes deprivation of such person from holding public office and employment kahit pa manalo sa eleksyon. Kaya naman, Mr. Chair, ang plunder sa madaling salita ay ang pagnanakaw ng pera mula sa kaban ng bayan na may halaga na higit sa 50 million pesos sa pamamagitan ng paggawa ng ibang krimen. Next slide, please. Kung makikita po natin sa ating screen, mayroong total na 7 umaabot sa 612,500,000 pesos. Ang 4 na tseke ay mula sa OVP, umabot ng 500 million pesos. At ang 3 pang tseke ay mula sa DepEd na nagkakahalaga naman ng 112,500,000 pesos. Mr. Chair, ang nabanggit na halaga 612,500,000 pesos lagpas sa 50 million pesos na required para sa kasong plunder. Ang mga checking ito ay lahat nakapangalan kay Ms. Gina Acosta bilang Special Disbursing Officer ng DepEd. Inamin niya sa atin na imbis na i-disburse na ito as confidential expenses, ay sinunod ang utos ng Vice Presidente na ibigay ang pera sa kanyang security officer. Dito naman po sa Department of Education, ang payee sa mga tseke ay ang Special Disbursing Officer Edward Fajarda. Former Special Disbursing Officer of DepEd. Inamin rin niya na nung nakaraang hearing na ang perang kanyang natatanggap ay kanyang ibinibigay sa security officer sa utos din ng ating Vice Presidente. Mr. Chair, I wish to show the breakdown of the confidential funds which were received both by DepEd and OVP. For OVP, Mr. Chair, for clarity, we have 125 million, that is last quarter of 2022, and then 125 million for the first, second, third quarters of 2023, total of 375. So 2022, which is 125, and 2023, which is 375, that is 500 million in total confidential funds utilized by the Office of the Vice President, Mr. Chair. For DepEd, Mr. Chair, I understand that this were utilized during the first 3 quarters of 2023, 37,500,000 each for the first, second, and third quarter of 2023, which totaled to 112 million pesos confidential fund utilized by the Department of Education. In total, Mr. Chair, ang kabuang halaga po na ating naimbestigahan pertaining to the utilization of confidential fund is 612,500,000 pesos. Napakalaki at nakakalula. And to be very candid, Mr. Chair, ilang bata na sana ang ating napakain. Ilang bata na sana ang ating napaaral. At ilang pamilya na sana ang ating nabigyan ng bahay. Mr. Chair, considering that the amounts involved here far surpass the threshold for plunder, na mas kilala bilang pandarambong, it is my humble position na dapat po talaga ay maipagpatuloy at mapalalim pa ang investigasyon upang malaman kung sino ang nakinabang sa perang ito. Such an investigation may not be for Congress to conduct anymore. Again, our ultimate purpose here is to legislate. Such an investigation, however, we will ensure will be conducted, Mr. Chair. Hindi po basta-basta ang mga pangyayaring natuklasan natin rito. Finally, Mr. Chair, ayon po sa isang Supreme Court decision, this is Macapagal Arroyo versus People, GR numbers 220598 and 220953, dated July 19, 2016. On the crime of plunder, napag-usapan po dito ng Supreme Court ang will, conspiracy na nagaganap in the commission of plunder. Kaya kung may pagpapatuloy po ang investigasyon, maigi pong matingnan kung sino po ba ang hub, sino ang mga spokes, ilang conspiracy po ba ang ating pinag-uusapan. In other words, Mr. Chair, we will look forward that as the other agencies conduct an in-depth investigation on this, we will look forward sino ang hub, sino ang sentro, sino ang nakikinabang dito sa alleged will conspiracy na ito.
Sir, kasi yung filing of criminal charges and impeachment, magkaiba yung punishment nun eh. Impeachment, removal, criminal charges, may kulong. Mabibigat yung mga kaninang nabanggit. So, my question is, what is the likelihood of the House panel recommending the filing of criminal charges against the Vice President and her subordinates regarding this confidential fund controversy? Ano yung likelihood, sir, na magfa-file kayo ng, magre-recommend kayo ng filing of criminal charges against her and her subordinates? Like, give me a specific, 90%, 80%,
No, we
50%?
cannot, I'm sorry, but we cannot give you the exact, on how to guarantee. These are all part of the recommendation. What I probably, with all due respect to the chairman, sabi nga niya, this will be decided by all the committee, by the entire committee, all members. I think yung mga nakita po natin na mga violations and mga possible na mga criminal acts, probably the committee can come up with a recommendation to propose to yung mga appropriate agencies of the government to pursue their own investigation. Our task here is in aid of legislation. When it comes to pursuing those kinds of alleged violations or crimes, I guess what the committee can do is to propose to these agencies to continue on, proceed with the investigation, because there's already an initial na nakuha na based from the information that we gathered from a resource person. So I think, with all due respect kay Chairman Joel Chua, yun po yung magiging recommendation probably ng committee na yun. Committee na ito.
And in addition to that, meron pa naman kaming isang meeting na kung saan kami lang po yun, mga miyembro. So, ang isa po sa mga, kasi let us be reminded, the number one objective of this hearing is in aid of legislation. So, yun naman talaga yung number one na naging objective natin. So, insofar as yung mga ibang recommendation is concerned, pag-uusapan din po yan. And then we will let the proper agencies na kasi yun naman talaga yung hindi naman po namin task na maglitis.
Thank you. Kat Porbes.
Ay, good afternoon po, Kongs. So, since hindi pa naman po kinlose itong committee hearing po, may chance pa rin po ba tayo na imbitahin si Vice President Sara Duterte doon sa iba pa pong mga issue na tatalakayin?
Pwede po. Pag talagang kinailangan, talagang iimbitahin din po siya.
Pero sir, kunyari po, ibang topic na po, pero willing po siya na balikan yun sa confidential funds at sumagot. Pagbibigyan niyo po ba siya?
Pagdating sa confidential fund?
Kung meron
Siguro
na po,
dapat
meron na.
sagutin niya yun dun sa proper forum. Dahil I think kung inirefer na po, yung impeachment niya, nirefer po sa Committee on Justice, I think that is the proper forum para yun sagutin.
Ed Sarto from DZME.
Good afternoon po, Kong Chairman Chua and Congressman Adjong. Sir, clarification lang. Can we get a categorical answer? Kasi puro parang ang dating is once na nag-start na ang impeachment hearing, whether in the Committee on Justice or in the impeachment court kung makakadiretso na doon, are you going to stop the investigation of good government and public accountability to give way either sa Committee on Justice or sa impeachment court?
Hindi po, kasi po ang in-stop lang po namin is yung confidential fund eh. But insofar as the other fund is concerned, kasi kung kagaya po ng binanggit ko kanina, nag-emanate po ito dun sa manifestation ni Congresswoman Jinky at saka ni Congressman Valeriano. But yung kanila pong manifestation at yung kanila pong privilege speech ay hindi po nakatali lamang sa confidential fund. Confidential fund is just part of the manifestation and the privilege speech. Kaya nga, yun po yung kino-question ng ibang mga miyembro na bakit tayo hihinto, meron pa namang ibang issue other than confidential fund.
But the main character, sir, doon sa iniimbestigahan ninyo ay haharap sa impeachment court.
Tama po, pero kagaya po ng tinanong kanina, kung yung sa ibang issue naman po ay siya rin po ang involved. Kasi at the end of the day, kagaya po ng sa DepEd, yung sa computer, di po ba time din po niya yon? Part din po yun nung manifestation ni Congresswoman Jinky. So, doon po, haharap. Kung kinakailangan po siya ipatawag doon, ipapatawag din po natin siya doon.
If it is orally, the perfect example or illustration, I believe, are misrepresentations during inquiry in aid of legislation. We often hear this: you will be committing perjury because all resource persons in inquiry in aid of legislation and even in all forms of investigation, we place them under oath. At ang lahat ng pagsisinungaling while under oath, we call it perjury. Again, the best illustration of an oral perjury are those committed by resource persons appearing in this investigation while making several misrepresentations. However, Mr. Chair, when it comes to written perjury, I wish to break down the elements of this offense so we can better illustrate how this is determined. And talking about elements, Mr. Chair, as we can see from the screen, there must be a sworn statement. It must be made under oath. The statement contains deliberate assertion of falsehood, and the false declaration is with regard to material fact. Mr. Chair, in the course of our investigation, the special disbursing officers, sina Ginoong Edward Fajarda at Ginang Gina Acosta, have plainly asserted na wala raw silang alam kung saang mga aktibidad ang pinaglaanan ng confidential funds. Can we please flash the certifications? Ayon sa kanila, basta-basta lang raw nila sinunod ang utos sa kanila ng ating Vice Presidente na ipasa ang confidential funds in the total amount of 612.5 million pesos, lagpas, Mr. Chair, sa kalahating bilyon sa ibang tao na siya raw na mahala at nag-disburse nito. Pagkatapos ay ipinasa lang din ng mga SDO sa COA ang mga accomplishment reports at ang mga acknowledgement receipts na ibinigay sa kanila. Pero hindi nila alam kung totoo ang nakasulat sa accomplishment reports, kung totoo or peke ang mga acknowledgement receipts at kung saan talaga ginamit ang pera. We have witnessed this, Mr. Chair, during the interpellation of SDO Edwin Fajarda of the Department of Education, as well as SDO Gina F. Acosta of the OVP. After they testified na ipinasa nila sa mga security officer ng Vice Presidente ang pera, wala ka nang makuhang impormasyon because they kept on giving an answer. Wala silang alam dahil ang kabuuan ng halaga ay ibinigay nila sa mga security officers. Ito pong certifications, Mr. Chair, is the perfect illustration of a written perjury. Halimbawa ng tinatawag natin na written statement made under oath. It is a basic principle that even first-year law students know that a statement made before a notary public, notario publico, is a statement made under the risk of perjury. In other words, Mr. Chair, when we talk about perjury, that includes the documents which were notarized by notary publics, sworn to before notary publics, similar to the certification that we are currently flashing on the screen. Now, let us look closer at what these certifications say. Ano po ba ang nilalaman ng mga certification na ito? Number 1, yung expenses where the confidential funds were supposedly spent on were incurred in connection with the agency's intelligence and or confidential operations and activities. I wish to reiterate, paano po malalaman ng ating mga special disbursing officers whether the first certification is indeed correct if they simply handed the money to the security officers? The second content, yung mga pinaggastusan raw ng confidential funds ay necessary and utilized for legal purposes. Again, Mr. Chair, how will they certify to this fact when they are totally unaware about the activities where the confidential funds were allegedly spent? Third, alam raw nila na hindi napunta ang funds sa mga gastusing ipinagbabawal sa confidential funds, kagaya ng payment of salaries and wages, overtime, allowances, or fringe benefits. Mr. Chair, I wish to raise, there is one common answer coming from our SDOs. Wala silang alam dahil ang pera ay ibinigay sa mga security officers. Fourth certification, any equipment purchased was supposedly relevant to the confidential and or intelligence activities. Mr. Chair, suffice it to say that the SDOs are totally unaware of how the confidential funds were spent, primarily because they were not the one who disbursed the same. E paano po nila patututuhanan ang nilalaman ng mga certifications na ito? Certifications which were sworn to before a notary public. To emphasize, Mr. Chair, and as seen from one of the certifications, which our Secretariat is showing right now, our Vice President and SDO Acosta signed and certified this certification before the notary public, and that is Attorney Abella. Ano po ba ang sabi ng mga SDO? We all learned from the hearing on November 25 that while SDO Acosta did encash the check, according to her, wala po siyang alam kung saan napunta yung confidential funds kasi po ito ay turn over sa VP SPG. Mr. Chair, this is totally, if not completely contradictory to the contents of the certification. It's the exact same story for Mr. Fajarda of DepEd, Mr. Chair. Sabi po nila, Ms. Acosta at Mr. Fajarda, sa ating pagdinig na hindi talaga nila alam kung saan ginastos ang pera. In other words, malay po ba nila kung napunta nga ba sa intelligence or confidential operations and activities ang pera? Malay po ba nila kung totoo yung mga pinagsasasabi na accomplishment report, liquidation report, and most importantly, certification? But they signed it, Mr. Chair. They signed them under oath. This means, Mr. Chair, that Ms. Acosta and Mr. Fajarda did not only violate the joint circular, they also lied under oath dito sa kanilang certification. They did this not just once, not just twice, but thrice for Mr. Fajarda. And for Ms. Acosta, I have to state, she did it 4 times. Paulit-ulit silang nagsinungaling sa kanilang certifications, Mr. Chair.